Hi everyone, my name is Sam Green. I am the founder of Cambrian, and today I'm going to be telling you about the future of agents. I'm going to start with a controversial opinion. Crypto sucks. What I meant to say was that crypto UX sucks. So I don't know about you, but I hate seeing this and this and this and this. I've made thousands of transactions using these interfaces, and every time I do it, I don't like it. And so I know what you might be thinking that I'm going to say. AI solves this. Well, yes it will, but saying this isn't specific enough. And specifically, I believe that agents solve this. And by this, what I mean is that agents are going to be solving the crypto UX problem. And in addition to that, agents are going to be solving many more things, which I'll be getting into in this talk. So just in case that you're not familiar with the word agents, or what agents actually mean, I'm going to explain them briefly. So agents, I define agents as autonomous decision-making programs that take actions on your behalf. And so this is a very broad definition of what an agent is, because many of you out there are developers, and you might think, I can make some sort of autonomous decision-making program that takes actions on users' behalf, and it's not using AI. Well, I would still classify that as potentially agentic. It has to be broad, and I'll explain why. So briefly, going through this, what agents actually do. Agents, specifically agents, sense, think, and act. They have to sense their environment or get information about the decision-making process. They then have to do some sort of computation around the actions, thinking about the actions they want to take, and then they make an action. And then this loop goes on and on. So agentic systems run continuously, typically. So I know that you're already deeply familiar with the thinking step, and I have a question. Who in the audience has used one of these models for financial advice? Just for financial advice. Can I get hands for people who have asked questions about money to ChatGPT? Okay, now who has actually directly made money through direct advice from one of these models? Okay, I saw one hand. Congratulations. Well, all of you are well aware of the limitations of the systems today, of these LLMs today. They make mistakes, they hallucinate, many of them can't even count the number of R's in the word strawberry. And what I'm going to be going over the next few slides is basically explaining how these limitations are going to be a distant memory. You're going to be telling your children about these errors these early systems made. So for some historical context, so 60 years ago, Gordon Moore, who is the co-founder of Intel, created or proposed Moore's Law. And he predicted that basically computational power would double every 2 years. And it did. It has for 60 years, and it's going to continue doubling every 2 years. And it turns out that this rate of change has also been applying to AI. In fact, AI doubles in performance every single year, and it's going to continue doubling in performance every single year. So in 2022, after decades of AI progress, basically this doubling of performance in AI systems, combined with Moore's Law progress, basically we broke through the public perception, or basically AI became part of public awareness when GPT 3.5 came out. And with GPT was able to achieve 100 million users in 2 months. And you could compare that, it took Instagram, who was second place, 2.5 years to get 100 million users. So the point is, AI is going to continue getting twice as good every year. And what this means is that the brains of agentic systems are going to continue doubling in performance every year. This is something you can just almost guarantee. So imagine if you got twice as smart every year. Imagine how powerful you would become if you could continue getting twice as smart year over year. So I would like to give some intuition of how far AI has come in the context of robotics, basically using something tangible. Robotic systems are actually much harder than just doing an LLM, because robotic systems have to basically move actuators, they have to see, many of them have to see things, they have to hear things, so their job is much harder, and they've come a long way. And what we're going to be seeing is that, as you see these robotic systems that progress, as you see AI progress, you're going to see this progression being applied to software agents as well, especially in the financial setting. So in the past, robots weren't much to be proud of. So if you look back about 10 years, this is the state of robotics 10 years ago. You can find many fail compilations online. But now, 10 years of progress has brought robotics a long way. Here we can see this robot is using state-of-the-art AI. It's an open source project. Basically, there's a technique called reinforcement learning that was used to train its system. You can see that it almost fell, but it didn't. 5 years ago, it would have fallen at this moment. So robotic systems are coming a long way. Okay, so just like Moore's Law teaches us to continue expecting doubling in capabilities every 2 years, we're going to basically be seeing the same thing in agentic finance, like I said. And what I want to do is I want to take a few minutes to talk about some history to make the argument that we're moving into a new era that is going to change all of our lives. And specifically, the era that we're moving into is the Agentic Revolution. And this revolution is going to have more impact than all of the previous revolutions in the past. What happened with every revolution in the past is we had an explosion in productivity. That's a key word, productivity. And each revolution started with what's called a Big Bang moment. And we're going to start this brief history with covering the first revolution, which happened 300 years ago, and that was the Industrial Revolution. And that was caused by having reliable steam power. So reliable steam power basically led to an explosion in physical productivity. And we got factories, we got mass production, and it resulted in an increase in efficiency and how fast humans could make physical things. And this meant that many people could get clothing, many people could get new tools, many people could get furniture, where otherwise before it was out of reach for them. And of course we didn't stop there as a society. And every single revolution, technological revolution, lays the foundation for the next revolution. And the next revolution came 120 years later, and that was the age of electricity. And this revolution brought humanity power amplification. And the Big Bang moment for the electricity revolution was when the first central power plant was created in Manhattan, in New York City. And all of a sudden, we had industrial level power go from being concentrated in steam engines at plants to being able to be distributed to the users at the endpoints. So it became much more efficient to generate power and distribute power. And this led to things like dishwashers, refrigerators, heating and cooling in many people's homes. We now had light bulbs instead of candles at that time. And so once we could reliably distribute power, that was then used as an infrastructure for the next revolution, which was the information age. It started 75 years ago, and it was a direct result of having power conveniently available within laboratories and homes. And the Big Bang for that moment happened in 1947 with the invention of the transistor. And all of a sudden, within a period of a few generations, many people had telephones, TVs in their homes, and eventually computers. And when everybody had computers in the home, of course, that laid the groundwork for the internet. And so this revolution amplified our ability to create, communicate, and store collective human knowledge as a species. And the information revolution primed us for the next revolution. And I believe that the revolution that you're going to experience in your lifetime is going to be the Agentic Revolution. And I think it could begin any day. So remember how we all agreed that it's probably not a good idea today to let ChatGPT manage your wallet. But also remember that AI performance continues to double every single year and will continue to double every single year. And so the Agentic Revolution happens when we have the Big Bang moment for this one. It's going to be the transition moment when AI leaves the stage where it's just giving advice to actually taking actions on your behalf. And because we're at a crypto conference, I'm going to focus the rest of the talk on crypto and finance. So I believe that crypto and blockchains are the perfect substrate for the agentic revolution. Crypto is programmable money, and when you combine that with agents that can make autonomous decisions on your behalf, you have the ingredients for agentic finance. So next I'll explain exactly what agentic finance is, and I'll also go into the projects that you should be paying attention to that are live today. So AgentFi refers to the market segment of crypto products that have various degrees of autonomy and various degrees of intelligence. And so the way that we do our taxonomy here is that we place all of the agentic products on this chart. We can place all agentic products on this chart. On the y-axis, you have autonomy, where at the top you have things that are making direct transactions, actually interacting with the chain, moving money. On the bottom, on the y-axis, you have things that are giving advice, not taking action. So that's autonomy. On the XY, you have intelligence. On the left-hand side, you have what we call algorithmic agents. These are agents that are using if-then type logic or maybe traditional methods from quantitative finance. And on the right-hand side of the plot, you have AI agents that could be using models that are well beyond what we have available today. So I believe that all products, all autonomous products, software products especially, and focusing on this talk, AgentFi products can be placed somewhere on this chart. So why pay attention to this topic now? Well, money is moving into AgentFi. At the beginning of the year, there was almost zero assets under management in this space. People became excited, as many of you know, at the end of 2024. There was a lot of hype. But in 2025, people actually started building real products. And as of October of this year, we had $20 million in assets under management. And now I think today it's around 500 million assets under management. So during the past year, my team has investigated all of the agentic projects that are out there, and we've used most of them. And we've curated the ones that we think are actually legitimate, the most legitimate and the most useful. And we've created a report called the 2025 AgentFi Landscape, which I'll link to at the end of this presentation. So now I'm going to break down what each of these projects do. So first we have agents that are doing prediction and betting, and they're participating in betting markets, and they're doing things like sports prediction or election outcomes. And these agents need on-chain and off-chain data, and of course they're participating in on-chain markets. Next we have trading and portfolio optimization agents. And these agents manage users' funds or manage users' portfolios and pick assets on behalf of their users. And they need on-chain pricing data, risk preferences, and potentially things like sentiment and news for their decision making. Now, we also have information agents that perform sentiment analysis, technical analysis. They can read financial news, financial reports. These agents don't directly take actions. They're more like co-pilots today. So this would be on that axis that I showed earlier. These would not be autonomous systems today. But of course, they're well positioned to move into autonomy. Next, we have liquidity provisioning agents, and these agents allocate liquidity across different DEXs. And so they need to track returns available across DEXs, and they need to help their users avoid impermanent loss. And what they're trying to do is basically generate fees, collect trading fees for the liquidity providers, for their users who become liquidity providers. And finally, we have lending agents. And this is the most popular segment of all of them. This is the segment that's received most of the assets under management today. And they're actively, dynamically allocating collateral, their users' collateral, and lending protocols so that their users can collect yield from interest rate payments. And so these agents need to be aware of what's the yield being generated by different lending protocols, what's the risk of different lending protocols for them to do their actions. So remember I introduced this sense, think, act loop. And all of the different agents I just showed you, they need to sense their environment, which could use various either on-chain or off-chain inputs. They then need to think about their financial strategy they're going to do, and then they execute. And they may use algorithms to do their thinking, and they may use AI to do their thinking. All of the ones that have had product market fit are algorithmic agents, if they're taking actions. So I'd like to take a moment to highlight some of the work that my team at Cambrian does, and where we fit in the sense, think, act loop. So just like you and I, agents need information. And not all information is useful. So for example, if you were to open up Twitter right now, most of the stuff that you see in your feed is just trash. It's very low signal to noise information. Similarly for agents, if they were to look at all blockchain transactions, most of those transactions have nothing to do with their decision-making process. And so the agents need only specific information. So at a bare minimum, agents need organized and transformed data for their decision-making. Things like protocol volumes, revenues, so that they can get the most yield that they're trying to go after, or maybe whale activity so that they can do copy trading. That's something that we provide at Cambrian, but we also go a step further. So financial intelligence is the biggest superpower that you can provide an agent, because the most well-informed agents can become the most profitable agents. And financial intelligence allows agents to discover alpha and make insights faster than a human ever could. So imagine an agent that can scan hundreds of chains simultaneously looking for yield opportunities and going after those yield opportunities without you having to be involved at all. So this brings me to some forward-looking statements. And this isn't financial advice. So where do I see things going next? I've already noted that the agents that are working on lending protocols are getting the most PMF, and the agents that are working with stablecoins, those are also the agents that are working with lending protocols. And so I believe the agents that can put stablecoins to work to basically generate yield are going to have high PMF. And these agents are going to be automatically discovering opportunities across protocols and across chains, and basically you're not going to have to be involved at all for them to go after them. Stablecoin adoption is increasing a lot. So in the past 5 years, we went from 20 billion assets under management to 300 billion assets under management over the past 5 years. Stablecoin transactions have outpaced Visa transaction volume as of this year, and they could replace ACH payments in the near future. And what's driving this is that stablecoins have the least risk of all DeFi opportunities. And so that's what we're seeing is that TradFi is coming on chain through this stablecoin market segment because it's the lowest risk. But that's just going to be their initial entry point. Basically, what we're going to be seeing over the next few years, according to a survey from Ernst & Young, is that currently 24% of financial institutions are interested in DeFi, and they expect that over 75% of financial institutions, traditional financial institutions, are going to become interested in DeFi over the next 2 years. So they're starting to experiment with things outside of stablecoins. So I'm out of time, but I'll leave you with this. So the crypto experience of yesterday was not very good. It was annoying to use, and it was prone to failure. But things are about to become much easier and much more profitable for everyone. So thank you so much. I appreciate you being here today. If you'd like to see our Agent-Fi report, you can go to this URL here, and you can follow us at Cambrian Network, and you can follow me at 0xSamGreen. Thanks so much.